Picture this. It is 1966. You are a United States Navy SEAL operating deep within the dense, suffocating, and humid chaos of the Mekong Delta in Vietnam. In this brutal environment, every single ounce of gear matters, and every component you carry is a potential point of failure that could cost you your life. Your mission requirements change by the hour. You might require a stealthy, highly compact carbine for a quiet insertion into enemy territory during the dead of night. And then, just hours later, you might desperately need a heavy, belt-fed squad automatic weapon to suppress a fortified village or fight your way out of a devastating ambush. Traditionally, fulfilling these vastly different combat roles meant deploying two entirely different specialized teams, or it meant one team had to carry a crushing, exhausting load of specialized weapons, extra barrels, and uncoordinated ammunition types. Now, imagine a world where you could carry just one gun, just one shared, fundamental core component, and with a few simple snaps, clicks, and swaps of parts, that single firearm could seamlessly transform from a lightweight standard assault rifle into a heavy, sustained-fire machine gun or a short-barreled commando carbine tailored for close-quarters combat. Imagine your entire platoon sharing 90% of their spare parts, regardless of their specific combat role. To military logisticians and battlefield commanders, this was not just a pipe dream. It was the ultimate holy grail of infantry warfare. It was an idea so incredibly ambitious, so radically advanced, that it should have completely revolutionized how militaries armed their soldiers forever. It was the Stoner 63. But here is the shocking truth of the matter. Despite its undeniable engineering genius, it ultimately became a legendary ghost of the Vietnam War. Why did the most elegant and forward-thinking weapon system of the entire 20th century fail to become the standard issue for the United States military? Let's find out. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I am Dr. James Hoffer, a military historian specializing in Cold War small arms, battlefield logistics, and weapons development philosophies. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on one of the most fascinating what-if stories in the entire history of firearms. Eugene Stoner is world famous as the brilliant creator of the AR-15, which evolved into the iconic M16 platforms used around the globe today. But what Stoner himself considered to be his truly ambitious masterpiece was born from a simple yet incredibly revolutionary question. He asked, can we make a military firearm that functions exactly like a modular building block set? Today, we are undertaking a comprehensive deep dive into the Stoner 63, Eugene Stoner's ambitious modular weapon system. After Eugene Stoner left Armalite in 1961, he was undeniably the hottest property in the world of small arms engineering. His revolutionary AR-15 design had successfully demonstrated the battlefield viability of lightweight aerospace alloys, advanced synthetic plastics, and the devastatingly effective small-caliber 5.56mm cartridge. But Stoner was a true visionary who always looked far beyond the scope of single, isolated weapons. He was looking at the much bigger picture of military doctrine and the nightmares of global supply chains. In the early 1960s, a standard American infantry platoon carried a logistical nightmare into the field. They were burdened with M14 rifles firing the heavy 7.62mm cartridge, M60 machine guns requiring completely different maintenance, and older submachine guns left over from previous conflicts. This chaotic mixture meant soldiers relied on multiple types of ammunition and vastly different spare part inventories. Stoner's grand new ambition, forged with the Cadillac Gauge Company, was the system concept. He definitively did not want to design just another rifle. He wanted to design a completely modular weapons platform from the ground up. The core concept driving this project was revolutionary. It relied on one universal receiver assembly, the serialized central part of the gun holding the bolt and the trigger group. That single master receiver would be the common heart to every single weapon variation. Soldiers could receive a basic receiver kit and physically build the exact gun their specific mission profile required. It was true modularity 30 years before anyone else understood the term. But Stoner didn't stop at basic modularity. He added an engineered trick that still makes mechanical engineers gasp in awe today. To transform the receiver from a standard bottom-feeding rifle into a top-feeding machine gun, the soldier didn't just add extra parts. They literally inverted the entire receiver. The receiver was brilliantly designed to operate completely upside down. For a standard rifle, the gas tube was positioned on the bottom. When you inverted the receiver to build a machine gun, the gas tube was now situated on the top, which brilliantly opened up the necessary space on the new bottom to attach a complex belt feed mechanism. This inverted operation meant that an absolute minimum of unique parts were needed for massive functional changes. The system consisted of 15 different major subassemblies, allowing for 6 major distinct configurations. You had the standard rifle feeding from a 30-round box magazine, the shorter carbine for paratroopers, and the light machine gun firing from an open bolt and feeding disintegrating belts of ammunition from a 100-round plastic drum. You could also configure it as an automatic rifle, a tripod-mounted medium machine gun, or a fixed machine gun for armored vehicles. Before we get into how this mathematical model of engineering perfection handled the brutal, muddy maintenance hellscape of Southeast Asia, I want to hear from you down in the comments. If you were a soldier in 1968, knowing your life depends on firepower and reliability, would you have trusted the highly innovative but finicky firepower of a belt-fed modular system, or would you have stuck to the simpler, proven reliability of a standard single-purpose rifle? Make your comment below and tell me if you think Eugene Stoner's ambitious system was simply too advanced for its own good. I will be reading every single comment. The Stoner 63 saw incredibly intense combat in Vietnam. While the Marine Corps ran extensive trials, the real users who absolutely fell in love with the Stoner system were the elite Navy SEALs. They almost exclusively configured it as a specialized ultralight machine gun known famously as the Stoner 63 Commando. Imagine a machine gunner carrying a weapon offering an uninterrupted 100 rounds of belt-fed firepower, but weighing just 10.5 pounds fully loaded. It allowed a single SEAL operator to output overwhelming fire during an ambush break contact drill, providing the equivalent suppressive capability of an entire M60 team at half the weight. The open bolt operation made it exceptionally reliable during intense strings of fully automatic fire. The Commando gave SEAL teams an asymmetric firepower advantage that quickly became legendary. With SEALs constantly singing its praises, why did the conventional United States Army ultimately reject Eugene Stoner's ambitious masterpiece? It came down to a bitter clash between pure engineering ideals and harsh battlefield realities. While high-level logisticians loved parts commonality, frontline armorers hated the sheer number of tiny parts. The modular system relied on a multitude of small pins, delicate springs, and interchangeable gas tube extensions. In a clean workshop, swacking these is easy. Doing it on a muddy riverbank while actively being shot at is a nightmare. The likelihood of an exhausted soldier losing a mission-critical component in the dirt was extremely high. The very complexity making the weapon beautifully versatile also made it fragile. Furthermore, reliability was a major hurdle. SEALs operated in small, highly trained elite teams and cleaned their weapons obsessively. The average drafty soldier treated weapons with significantly less care. The Army found that if the intricate Stoner 63 wasn't meticulously cleaned every single day in Vietnam, the ingenious gas piston system would quickly become fouled with carbon and jam catastrophically. The Army's final verdict stated the complexity was simply unacceptable for general service use. Politics also played a massive role, as the Pentagon had already thrown its immense institutional weight and funding behind standardizing the M16 as the primary infantry rifle. Production of the original Stoner system ended in 1971, with only about 4,000 units ever manufactured. By the late 1980s, the Navy SEALs were forced to phase out their beloved ghost guns for newer squad automatic weapons. But the story does not end there. The Stoner 63 may have failed politically and logistically in its own time, but Eugene Stoner's core idea unequivocally won the future. Look at any modern military arsenal today. Every Picatinny rail, every modular handguard, and every configurable carbine system on the planet today is desperately trying to achieve what Eugene Stoner built over 60 years ago. It was a failure only in immediate application. In concept, it was the pioneering ghost that entirely defined the future of infantry weapons. I am Dr. James Hoffer. Thank you for joining me for this deep dive into Eugene Stoner's incredible modular dream, and I will see you in the next one.